What is it that defines a game? Is it the characters, story, setting, gameplay, perhaps a mixture of the lot? In Spec Ops, the Lion's case, the setting and the story take centre stage, and it's this that turn another run-of-the-mill shooter into something much more than that. You take control of Captain Walker, voiced by the prolific Nolan North, and his band of merry men, Adams, a heavy gunner, and Lugo, the sniper. They're tasked with heading to Dubai and tracking down a US Army regiment, the 33rd. The 33rd were sent on a rescue mission until all contact was lost with them and their commander, Conrad. Upon entering Dubai, Walker and his pals quickly learn that something has gone very wrong and find streets littered with bodies and gun-toting vigilantes. The game opens with an adrenaline-pumping helicopter shootout. You join Walker at the controls of a minigun as you tear down enemy choppers, buildings and anything that gets in your way. After this exchange finishes, you're sent back in time where the game picks up the story with your team entering the outskirts of Dubai. Dubai has been destroyed by a series of momentous sandstorms cutting the city off from the outside world. The city looks fantastic. Buildings have been turned to ruins, the streets are littered with wrecked cars, bodies and dead camels. The game will see you battling through the abandoned streets, taking out enemies from the top of skyscrapers and dealing out pain in swanky hotels with aquariums for floors. The sand isn't only for decoration, it can actually be used as part of the gunplay, although most of the time it's scripted. Shoot windows with sand against them and it will pour through, taking out anyone who happens to be in the way. Also, as you're playing, you may get hit by a sandstorm, lowering visibility and movement for the duration of the storm. The gameplay itself is nothing new. Any game with a shooter experience will fit right in. The controls are pretty much what you'd expect them to be. One trigger to aim, the other to shoot. It also features a cover system that isn't quite as streamlined as some of the other titles out there. You'll stick to surfaces you don't want to, or you won't stick to a surface you want to, leaving you out in the open with lots of angry men bearing down on you. The set pieces are few and far between, leaving the majority of the gameplay revolving around your team entering a section, killing some dudes and moving on to the next area. Ammo is scarce, and swapping weapons with dead foes will become common practice. There's plenty to swap out to, from mini Uzis to RPGs and grenade launchers, most of which have a secondary function that can be activated easily. The enemies themselves are basic grunts, although later in the game you'll come across heavily armoured foes that take a lot of shooting to take down. However basic they may be, they're no pushover thanks to the brilliant enemy AI. They'll flank you, take cover, flush you out with grenades and lay down covering fire. Your teammates' AI is decent too. They'll get on with the job and can save your life on multiple occasions. There's also some limited squad interaction. You can call out targets for them to shoot or ask them to chuck in a flashbang, but most of the time you'll leave them to their own devices. As you progress through the story, you'll be required to make a few decisions. These decisions will determine the way the game plays out and the ending itself. These decisions aren't quite as cut and dry as you might expect. There's no press A to kill everyone, press B to hand out kittens. For the most part, both options are bad news. You're basically in a no-win situation, and it's up to you to decide what you think is the lesser of the two evil. On the multiplayer side, you've got your usual deathmatch modes, as well as a few unique objective game types. Games are locked to 4v4, which can sometimes feel a bit small, although the nature of the game is to sneak and take cover, so for the majority of the time, it works fine. There's also heaps of customisation. You can customise your character, loadouts, perks and so on. At launch there's no co-op, but this is something that will be added free via DLC in August. Spec Ops The Line is a fantastic game, although this is mainly due to the story and the setting. Sand Savage Dubai looks fantastic and the game has the grittiness to go along with it. It runs on the Unreal Engine and does have the occasional texture pop-in that so many Unreal games suffer from, but apart from that it looks great. The story will keep you gripped, and the decisions you make will have the potential to leave you devastated. It's a shame the gameplay itself couldn't be a bit more unique, but it's more than playable and won't detract from the experience.